Okay, in this video, we are going to go over the guidelines of for hypothesis testing for a specific case, namely when you're testing a claim about a population mean in which the population standard deviation is already known. That is, when sigma is known. And it's in this case, what's basically going on here is that as long as n is greater than 30 or equal to 30, or the population is normally distributed, then the standardized sample means, that is, the numbers of this form, have a standard normal distribution. Okay, so this number, this is what we call the standardized test statistic in this case, because remember that sigma over square root of n, this is sigma x bar, right? After all, so we have, this is the standard normal distribution. So what we're interested in to see is what happens when this quantity is in a rejection region. Okay, and if this area and this area, let's say, have very small areas, that means small probabilities. That means it's very unlikely that this would fall in here. So if it turns out that this number does fall in this rejection region, we go, maybe something's wrong. Okay, and in fact, if this area and this area, or the size of the shaded rejection region, no matter what that is bigger than your level of significance, then you can reject the null hypothesis. So this is the guideline. So we first verify that sigma is known, the sample is random, and either the population is normally distributed or the sample size is at least 30. Next, we state the claim, and that includes identifying the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, okay, which again, this is denoted by HA. We specify the level of significance, alpha, that's going to be given. Then we determine the critical value in the rejection regions, and of course that depends on whether we're going to use the left-tailed test, the right-tailed test, or the two-tailed test. And of course that depends on what the null hypothesis is. Okay. Then we compute the standardized test statistic that we just looked at. Determine if this number z is in the rejection. If it is, we reject the null hypothesis. And if it's not in the rejection region, we don't. And then we interpret the decision in terms of our original claim. So that's going to be, that's like what we're either going to say, there's enough evidence to support the claim, there's enough evidence to reject the claim, there's not enough evidence to support the claim, or there's not enough evidence to reject the claim, depending on whether the claim is in the null the null hypothesis or the alternative hypothesis. Okay, and we talked about that in the previous video.